All right, I guess we can slowly get going with this webinar. Hi, everyone. Glad to see that some of you responded to our invitation to get a glimpse into the future of work. By the way, before diving into the presentation and the webinar itself, keep in mind that we are recording this. So if you won't be able to attend the whole presentation, or you know somebody that would like to find out about the things we discussed here, be aware that you're going to get a link with a recording of this somewhere by the end of tomorrow. Also, feel free to ask questions during the presentation by using the Q&A button available. I've reserved some time at the end of the webinar where we can have a dynamic discussion and respond to your questions and curiosities. All right. I'm Alex. Nice to meet you. I'm an RPA developer in Yonder with more than 3 years experience in this field of digital automation, let's say. I've had a chance to work with 3 RPA technologies so far, and I'm really happy to share some of my experience about them. I'll do my best to keep it short, around 20 and some minutes of presentation, and the rest of time we'll have for Q&A. And yeah, keep in mind that mainly the purpose of this webinar is to help you understand better what's it with this RPA technology, and to show you how you can implement some automations by using an RPA tool offered by Microsoft. And yeah, we'll get into details into the next slides. All right. Before diving into the presentation itself and discussing some theoretical aspects of RPA, I'd like to show you a quick demo of what a robot is able to do. This robot is able to scrape product information from Amazon, and you can trigger it by sending an email to him in which you can tell him what do you want to scrape, what product do you want to scrape from Amazon. So let's see it in action. Here is my email address. I'm configuring the robot address. I'm making sure I include into the subject the action that I want him to do, so scrape Amazon, so he'll be able to tell exactly what I want from him. And in the body of the email, I'll tell him, please scrape Amazon for a product iPhone. I'd like to see a list with every iPhones that are available on Amazon, and later I'll be able to do all sorts of things with that list. I'll be able to filter data or sort it depending on different factors. So as you see, the robot got my email. It automatically started the browser, accessed Amazon, searched iPhone, and got all of the content from that page and included it into an Excel file. Later, this Excel file will be sent to my email address as an attachment. So here we are back seeing my email account in the inbox. And anytime from now, we should see an email arriving from the robot that contains an attachment with the scraped information. There it is. And if we open the Excel file, we'll be able to see the scraped information. So yeah, this is just a simple use case, just a simple demo to showcase some of the things that you'll be able to do with Power Automate and RPA in general. Yeah, now that you saw this, probably you're wondering how exactly are we able to do this, or how would you be able to do that? And in order to answer that question, I need to provide an answer for the general question: what is RPA? RPA comes from robotic process automation, and sorry to disappoint, those are software robots, not real hardware robots, because I do get that question from time to time. So it's just a program and an automation that we do. And mainly RPA consists in a set of features or capabilities that allow you to achieve process automation. And I'll mention you some of those capabilities. So with RPA, we are able to simulate, just a second, my PowerPoint is acting up. All right, with RPA, we are able to simulate keyboard and mouse interaction. So we can type stuff, click stuff, drag and drop, and so on. We're able to scrape data from web and desktops. You've just seen a robot scrape data from Amazon, but we can also scrape data from a legacy application, for example. We can trigger API calls. manipulate information in different ways, do all sorts of calculations with it. We can do files and folder management. We can rename files, copy them, move them from a folder to another. And a really cool use case, we are able to extract information from documents, and not only, but we'll discuss more about it in the later slides. So those are the main features or capabilities of an RPA tool. Not the only ones, but of course there are some more, but all of them come into the category of process automation. And if you take all of those and add on top of them AI and machine learning in order to enhance some of those capabilities, and we'll see a bit later how exactly this enhancement is done, you get RPA. And just to get an idea or a sense when it would make sense to actually automate the process with RPA, I'll give you 3 of the main key ingredients for a process to be suitable for automation with RPA. Those are not the only requirements or ingredients. Some other due diligence would have to be made, but those are some of the most important ones. So a process would have to contain repetitive tasks. So a task that's done multiple times in mainly the same way. The process would have to be a rule-based, so we need instructions for every branch, every variation of the process. And in order to make sense to invest into this and to put the time and money to build a robot, the process should come in high volume. So the job done by the robot should come in high volume, so it really pays off to have such an automation in place. Just some few information about what robots are able to do and what they're not, just to get more sense of it. So robots definitely are able to, as I said, perform repetitive processes, follow rule-based instruction, interpret information in different ways, trigger actions and responses. So when something happens, we can take notice and trigger a robot. It's a really good tool that allows communication between other systems, so you can use it to integrate different systems together. And yeah, they can work basically non-stop if you maintain them and pay the licenses. But of course, there are some things that robots are not yet able to do, but we as humans still are. They're not able, to handle unpredictable scenarios. So when the process goes outside the scope of the rules, a robot will not be able to figure out what it should do from that point on. He won't be able to make judgment calls, how to deal with the situation or who to call to deal with the situation. I don't think they're able to present the webinar, maybe not yet. And I also don't think they're able to tell a good joke as some of our colleagues at the office do. And of course, there are many more other things that robots aren't able to do, and we as humans are. All right, so I hope you formed some ideas about what RPA is in sort of a general way. Now I'd like to get a little bit more specific and talk about the RPA market. So let's take a brief look at what are the main leaders of the RPA market, the main vendors. And here are worth mentioning Automation Anywhere, UiPath, Microsoft, and Blue Prism. They are both considered leaders of the RPA market. You can find them also in the Magic Quadrant by Gartner. Here in Yonder, we mostly had experience with UiPath and Microsoft, and I think it's worth mentioning that UiPath has been a strong leader of the market in the last few years, and really had a great contribution in the growth and popularization of this kind of technology. But you should also know that Microsoft is one of the latest players to join the party, the RPA party, let's say, with one of their new tools called Power Automate, which we'll focus on during the next slides. But before getting into detail about Power Automate and how you can build RPA robots with it, I think it's worth mentioning that this tool comes along with other tools or applications that together form the Microsoft Power Platform. Each of those tools have a certain purpose, and you can use them in a certain way to achieve digital automation. For example, Power Apps is a low-code app that allows you to develop web application very fast, and you'll be able to access them from web, from your telephone, from any place. Power BI is a really cool tool that allows you to connect multiple data sources. You'll be able to fetch information from databases and different systems, and it helps you provide a dashboard with a clear overview of that data. Power Automate we'll discuss right after this slide, and there is also Power Virtual Agents, which is a tool that allows you to build AI chatbots, again, in a very simple, low-code way. This is a common feature of this Microsoft Power Platform. You don't really need to get very technical all of the time. You can do some of the things very quickly and simple by drag and drop some pre-made components. All right, so now let's dive into our main attraction for today, which is Power Automate, Microsoft's tool for RPA. And when it comes to building flows, building automations in Power Automate, there are three main ways in which you can build automations. And I'll start talking about the first way, which are cloud flows. So with Power Automate, you'll be able to create some cloud flows. Those basically represent workflow automation between modern API cloud-based services. So they can allow you to integrate together hundreds of cloud services. Imagine that most of the business applications that are mostly used in businesses today, most of them have a cloud service version of them, or they haven't exposed an API which you can use to interact with those applications. So it makes a lot of sense to have a feature that allows you to interact with those cloud services. And with Power Automate, you can also build flows in which you can leverage the power of expressions, basically a proprietary language created by Microsoft that can be used for the cloud flow creation. They allow you to, again, process data in different ways, data that you get or send to those API services. And as I said, many of the most common business applications have available cloud services, and we can connect to them using some connectors present in Power Automate. Here you have a brief list with some of the connectors available, and you should know that there are over 400 connectors available for integration with such applications. So let's say you want to automate a process that has to do with Outlook and SharePoint. Maybe every time you receive an email from accounting, you want the invoices downloaded from that email and stored in a SharePoint folder. You could achieve that by using cloud flows and connecting to the cloud services of both Outlook and SharePoint. Moving on to the second way of building automations in Power Automate, we have also desktop flows. Those allow workflow automation also between modern API services, but also legacy, so non-API systems that probably have been built a while ago, and you can't really get under the hood of them to implement some changes, so you can connect better to them. This is a use case where it really makes sense to have a desktop robot that's able to interact with desktop applications and basically use them as a human user would do. You remember I explained to you some of the features and capabilities of the RPA technology, such as keyboard and mouse simulation or interaction. Those are the kind of features and capabilities mostly used in desktop flow. They mimic a human interaction, let's say, with the computer, up until a point. Of course, we're not able to really simulate a full human person. And yeah, in short, you can interact with the machine using application UI elements, images that the robot can recognize on the desktop, or even coordinates, where on the screen it should click, and so on. All right, those were the desktop flows. And now for the last way of building robots, you also have the business process flows. Those are not really robots, but by using the process flows, you can come up with a way to ensure that people enter data consistently and follow the same steps every time when completing a process. So you can set the stages of a process. what roles are in that process, who should do what, and who should input data in which way. And by having some web applications, some sites where your employees can follow the process, and maybe at some stages of the process they would have to upload a document into that page, and a robot will fetch the document, process it in some way, and send back a result. So yeah, in short, this is what you can do with business process flows. By the way, they can be used along with cloud and desktop flows. As I said, if you have a certain stage in the process where you can do some automation with cloud and desktop flows, Power Automate allows you an easy integration with those three main ways of building automations. All right, so now that you've saw those three main ways of building automations with Power Automate, I think it's worth mentioning that they offer great versatility depending on your use cases, and also IT infrastructure available. For example, for cloud flows, you only need to pay the licenses. Everything will be run in Microsoft Cloud. For desktop flows, apart from the licenses, you'll also need to get a PC or a virtual machine where you can run your automation. And for business process flows, maybe you need some kind of web hosting of those websites or dashboards where the employees will perform the processes. All right, so now that we've seen those, I'd also like to bring into your attention another powerful tool of this Power platform that really enhances the capabilities of Power Automate. Its name is AI Builder, and this can help you, again, enhance the capabilities of Power Automate with things starting from being able to do sentiment analysis on a piece of text to extract information from documents and such use cases. So yeah, in our opinion, Power Automate and AI Builder equal love. They are really great together. And briefly, I'm going to give you some examples how they can work together. So by implementing AI Builder into your RPA flows, into your robots, you'll be able to extract information from identity cards. You can get the person's name, date of birth, residence, basically everything that's important into an ID card. And you can customize this depending on your country or language. Of course, if you train a custom model for your specific documents. Another cool thing that you can achieve with AI Builder integrated into a robot is extracting entities from a text. I hope you'll be able to see the text sample that I have on the left side of the screen. We have there a message sent by somebody who wants to buy a computer, and it specifies in that message different details about that computer. It's a Surface Pro, it comes with a 2.4 gigahertz i5 processor and some other details. By running this text through our AI Builder model, the model was able to extract pieces of this message and as entities and put some tags on them, put them in certain categories. So on the right side, you can see which are the entities extracted and how they were categorized. Surface Pro is in the category of a brand. 2.4 gigahertz i5 is the CPU. 8 giga is the RAM memory. 12-inch is the screen size. So depending on the context, it's able to tell what exactly you were talking about into that message. In short, you can use this to transform unstructured data into some sort of structured data. And imagine you have a chatbot running on WhatsApp, and you can message your robot on WhatsApp that hey, I'm low on stock with a piece from my inventory, please order it again, and the robot will be able to distinguish what product do you want ordered, in which quantity, and even more, it can check the price, message you back with, hey, I checked, this is the price, do you want them ordered, yes or no? And by replying, you can actually do a purchase order without having to use anything else than your phone and WhatsApp application. Another way of classifying data you'll be able to do with AI Builder. Here I have another simple example. There's a message in which somebody says, I cannot connect to your service anymore. How do I reset my password? And the robot was able to extract or to put this text into different categories, which are urgent, need assistant, and usability. So you can use this to sort the information that you get internally or externally and prepare it for later processing. For example, you can use this to detect spam. You can use this to route different processes, different tasks through your departments. You can use this to perform sentiment analysis and figure out how happy or not your clients are with a certain service, and some other examples in this area. And the last cool thing that I want to show you that you're able to do with AI Builder. Of course, there are many other more. I had to make a summary of them that I like the most. Is the ability to extract information from documents. This is actually exactly the model that you saw in action. If you got a chance to see our webinar promo, we had a robot that's extracting information from an invoice. And we did that by leveraging this type of model. And yeah, it has quite some cool features. You can extract text, table, numbers, date and time, even handwritten text, checkboxes, and so on. You can either use pre-built or pre-trained models that are able to recognize your usual invoice, let's say, or you can train a custom model so it can be tailored for your usual type of documents. And I guess this is mostly recommended to ensure a good accuracy rate and a good success rate of extracting information from documents. By the way, I was mentioning the webinar promo in which you saw our robot extracting information from an invoice. Here is just a brief demo regarding how we trained this model. So no crazy mathematical or programmatical calculations. We just had to give the model 5 samples, 5 documents that have a little bit of variations between them. And then we had to label them, to tag certain parts of the document. So the model will know, hey, the invoice number, you'll find it here. The grand total, you'll find it here. The table will be here. And by doing this labeling, the robot will be able to extract information on itself later. You only need 5 documents to start. So the robot will be able to extract information only after training the model with 5 documents. But yeah, of course, if you really want to have a good accuracy rate, you'd need to train it with more documents and be sure that you include as much edge cases as you have, and a lot of variation between the training data. Yeah, so I guess we're approaching the end of this presentation, and I hope I managed to transmit to you a bit of my excitement about this technology. I really believe it allows you to do some really cool things. I'd like to end this presentation with an encouragement for you or for your organization to try this technology on yourself. I promise you won't have to invest too much time or money to get started. There are some free tutorials and documentation available on Microsoft's website. Of course, YouTube is full of tutorials, and there are many forums available where you can find information. You should also know that's really easy to start and cheap to continue with Power Automate. There is a free trial available, so you can test all of the premium features, including AI Builder, by the way, so including the features that allow you to extract information from documents or ID cards. You can test them by having this free trial, and also the licensing cost is quite cheap, especially compared with other RPA vendors. In general, we recommend, and I recommend you to start small by building a couple of POCs that can take hours or days to accomplish, so nothing too long in time, nothing too crazy. And after you validate some of your concerns, some of your technical questions, let's say, those POCs later can be transformed into a full-scale automation done by a robot, and later that can be scaled to multiple robots. If you think I can be of any help to you regarding this RPA technology, please don't hesitate to contact me. You have there my email address and my name, so you can find me on LinkedIn. And yeah, keep an eye on our company LinkedIn page, where we'll try to post from time to time some articles in which we'll offer some new insights into this technology. and also some other webinars in which we'll get in depth also about RPA, but probably also about some of the other tools of this Power Automate platform. Thanks a lot for your attention. Let's dive into the Q&A session. Let me open the Q&A tab and see if there are any questions available. I don't see any on my side. I hope that's accurate. But we still have a couple of minutes left of this presentation. So please feel free if you have any curiosity or you want to get a little bit more in depth about a certain topic. This is the time to do it now or later if you send me an email or contact me via LinkedIn. Can you integrate a process flow with Excel? Yeah, definitely. Excel is one of the business applications that offers such a cloud service. So you'll be able to actually the whole suite of Office application. So Excel, PowerPoint, SharePoint, OneDrive, Office in general has connectors available in Power Automate, so you'll be able to easily integrate with them. And since they also have a cloud version of them, you won't even need a desktop PC or a virtual machine where you need to run the flows. Everything can be done in cloud by triggering API. I think in the background, Power Automate will use the Microsoft Graph API. You can look a little bit into it. I really recommend it. It's a very powerful API that allows you to play with those Microsoft applications. Can you use RPA for testing purposes? Yeah, definitely. And this is a discussion I often have with some of my colleagues from the testing side in Yonder. Whenever I showed them a little demo of a robot or talked with them about this technology, they were like, wow, this is quite similar with what I do in testing. Could I use this for testing? The answer is yes. We are actually doing this right now with a couple of clients, and the results so far are pretty great. We're able to simulate different actions, so interact with UI elements of the applications. After we interact with them, we are able to extract information and do some checks, check if the results obtained after doing some actions are the ones expected. So yeah, definitely it can be used for testing, and some of the RPA vendors already started to market their tool as good for testing. And one strong point for using it for testing is that it offers you capabilities both for desktop testing and web testing. I know this is something that some of our clients were interested in. They told us, hey, we have an application that has both the desktop and web version, and we'd like to test, of course, both of them. Can we find a tool that can achieve this, or do we need to have two separate tools, one that's good for web and that's one that's good for desktop? So yeah, that's why it's a strong point of RPA. Using it for testing, it allows you to do both type of automation. Still got 2 or 3 minutes, so feel free to ask any more questions. Can you send me your contact details? Sure thing. I'll put back on the slide with my contact details and also put my email address here so you can get it more easily. All right. I see there aren't any other questions. As I said, feel free to contact me. I'm more than happy to to have a talk with anyone about this technology and what it can offer. Thank you for your attention, and keep in touch. See you on the next webinar or article about robotic process automation. Thanks a lot.